Thank you for joining the Red Clinic podcast. My name is Dr. Schwalen. I'm a licensed psychologist and expert in the treatment of eating disorders, and today is Memorial Day. So today is all about barbecues and celebrations, getting together with friends and family, and we do it all in the name of honoring those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. So I do want to take a minute and just thank you, veterans and active duty, for your service and everything that you have provided to us in the United States. I also want to talk about the fact that eating disorders affect those in the military more than we may realize. So I could have used today's episode to do what most people out there are going to do in terms of providing eating disorder awareness today. We can talk about maybe the fact that it's summer and we're going to be poolside and we have the pressure of maybe wearing a bikini, or we might be surrounded by others who are in bathing suits and we're falling prey to comparing ourselves to somebody else. We might be thinking about isolating because our eating disorder really wants us to and talks us out of being around people. And those who are struggling with eating disorders might even be thinking about how they're going to get through eating all the food that's going to be at these holiday gatherings. So I will touch on that just for a minute. I want to say to you, if you are struggling with an eating disorder on Memorial Day and some of those things are affecting you that I just went over, it's okay to enjoy yourself today. It's okay to focus on yourself and engage in self-care. It's okay to eat what you want to eat and not listen to your eating disorder today. It's okay to take care of yourself and reach out for support. And it's also okay to just have fun today. So I hope that you do join your family and friends today. You don't let the fact that your eating disorder is telling you that you can't eat something, or you shouldn't be around people, or that you shouldn't dare wear a bikini today, right? I just hope you can put that to the side today and focus on being mindful and present and totally celebrating what today is all about, which is, again, honoring our armed forces. And so the topic that I really do want to focus on is the fact that in the military, we know, because it's coming out more and more, that eating disorders are raging across all of our military organizations. And I don't know if that's surprising to you or not. I think a few years ago, when I started talking to clients in the Red Clinic about it, I was actually quite surprised. It hadn't really dawned on me that people in the military would have eating disorders at the rate that they do. And then it really just started to make a lot of sense once I started talking to more and more individuals. So the military, just like a lot of organizations in our diet culture, really promotes certain body types or certain metrics in which you have to really fall into in order to be considered a good fit, right? It always comes down to fitting into something when we talk about body size and numbers defining us. And so when I started talking to individuals who were either active duty or veterans, and they would share their stories, I would hear a lot about how much pressure was on them during their time in the military to meet certain criteria. And if they didn't, they would be at risk for discharge. And that's really stressful, right? Like being let go, you could potentially be told you're not a good fit. And the way that you identify as, Army or Marines or whoever you are may not be what your identity is anymore, because your neck didn't measure the way it was supposed to, or you didn't weigh the number on the scale that you should have, or your waist circumference was not the number they needed to see. And so even though that sounds a little out there, that's actually exactly what the active military or the veterans were telling me. That the amount of pressure they were under was so extreme that without realizing it, many of them had developed a full-blown clinically significant eating disorder. I've heard stories like as soon as they knew weigh-in was coming, right? So maybe it was once a quarter or once a year, whatever the frequency was, they would lay in bed for 7 days before the day they were going to get weighed. They would allow themselves literally to just waste away. So they wouldn't eat anything, and all they would do is drink to stay alive. And so then that way they'd be guaranteed to weigh the amount on the scale that they needed to weigh in order to pass their test. So I've heard stories like that. And y'all, that is not okay. It's not healthy. It's not normal. But it is definitely something that I heard a lot when I was talking to people who would come seek services in the Red Clinic, and they used to be in the military. I want to also make clear that a lot of the stories that I've heard from veterans and active military are from both men and women alike. And so the amount of pressure that the requirements can place on a person, it doesn't just discriminate, right? Both men and women are going to be affected and are affected. And so now the idea of having to be on a diet or having a certain body type and fitting into a certain set of numbers is so ingrained in the military mindset that most people don't even realize that it was happening to them while they were going through it. And so if that's you today on Memorial Day, I urge you to call us for a free consultation. We are here to help. We help veterans all the time. We help active military all the time. We take, TRICARE for that exact reason. Because at Next Steps and in the Recovered Clinic, we really do want to help you because of how much help you've given us and our country. We know we wouldn't be here unless it was for people like you. And so now it's our turn to give back. If you feel like you've been affected by body image or diet culture, diet mentality, or even the fact that you might even have an eating disorder and you want help, please reach out because we're here and we can absolutely guide you in the right direction. So there you have it. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you for tuning in to the Red Clinic podcast, and I'll see you next time.